Step number 2, you got to figure out the stressors. Identify the stressors. So it takes a while to do that. Is it noise? Is it noise? Is it sound? Is it too much visual stimulation? Not enough visual stimulation? Every kid is different, and the little buggers change on you all the time. So what was a stressor yesterday may not be today, and what is a stressor today? It's just constantly changing. We expect change. And we have to look at stress in 5 domains. The 5 domains are in the book. You've got the book. Look at the 5 domains, and then we'll figure out ways. We're figuring out a way to teach you all this online, so you can go through it. I don't know who's Clara. Maybe you could tell them about the online stuff that's available. Right. Already, there's a lot of resources. We're trying to make all this free. Some stuff we got to charge for just to pay off our staff. Step number 3: reduce the stress. Okay, so 1, reframe. 2, recognize the stressors. 3, reduce the stressors. Okay, so let's take a very simple example. Fluorescent lights are a stress. How do I reduce the stress of fluorescent light? Take out the bulbs. Just turn off the bloody lights if you have to. It has a magical effect on pretty much all kids that are overstressed. Doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. In an ideal situation, we like to take our spaces and divide them into different zones. So we'll have one zone that's low light, one zone that's a lot of light, because kids are different. Some kids need that light. Or they change. And it's fascinating, by the way, with little children, you will be fascinated to see how you'll have some kids that always go to the same spot no matter what. And you'll have other kids who will move around during the day or during the week as they learn what their needs are. Okay. And so we have all kinds of strategies that we've developed or tested to reduce the stress in your classroom environments. There's lots and lots of ideas here. Number 4, they have to develop self-awareness. I'll tell you right now that they don't have it. That's the biggest thing we're seeing in Canadian children. This sudden drop in their awareness of what's going on inside them or around them. There are all kinds of reasons for this. It's a complicated topic. Basically, what it means is we want children to learn how to manage their stress so they can become calm and alert. Yep.
Sorry, on that note, because you're talking about the self-awareness, just wondering if you've noticed in your studies if children being able to, I guess, decide, especially with hunger, in the kindergarten program, we've gone to the open snack in the morning, and it has reduced a lot of those behaviors, and just based on their decision to, you know what, I'm hungry right now, I need a snack. And just wondering if you've noticed that in that.
Same thing, and I love your example. And in fact, one of our core practices in our self-reg environments is to have open snacks so that they can, and we use it always as a learning opportunity. So here, what we want them to do is not just become aware when they're hungry, which is critical, but we also want them to recognize the effects of foods on them. And so, we can do all kinds of things in the moment. How did that make you feel? That's, and with little guys, you're always going to do it physically. So, what did you feel in your tummy? What did you feel in your arms, in your head, whatever. Because you can't ask a 4-year-old, describe your emotions. So in our array of foods, we make sure we have crunchy foods, because crunchy foods are calming for the nervous system. And we were designed to chew, and we have a generation of children that don't chew anymore. And so what we want to do is, we don't want to be too heavy-handed about it, but by the same token, you seem to have a lot more pep after you ate those carrots. Maybe you should try eating carrots the next time you're feeling kind of slowed down or edgy or whatever. And they will do it. And so there's multiple aspects of, there's so much in what she just said. On the CSRI website, there's a video by Carrie Favreau up in Kenora where she talks about exactly what you just said, and how she taught self-regulation to little children through snack. There's the choice, There's cleaning, organizing, knowing when to get up, learning how to do it quietly so you're not intrusive, instead of, it's, 9 o'clock, everybody go have their snack now. Yep. Very interesting. That's very interesting. Hangry. Love it. Can you get, from somebody here, can you get Susan Hopkins' email and send her that? Just tell her about it. That's Hopkins. That's real good. I love it. Okay, so we're going to work on awareness. And we're not, with little guys with your age group, we are not going to go metacognitive. What does that mean? We're not going to say to them, well, you need to calm down. Right? I mean, that's just ridiculous. For a little guy, hearing calm down means be quiet. Being quiet is not at all the same thing as calming down. So being quiet is don't move, don't make a sound, or you'll get in trouble. Being calm is having your muscles relaxed, releasing your tension, enjoying that sensation, and being aware that you enjoy that sensation. 3 components: physical, emotional, and cognitive. We don't teach this through words. We teach it with little guys. We'll teach it. It has to be what's called experiential. So what we do in our clinic is we use dolls, and we use a Raggedy Ann and a Buzz Lightyear. And so who do you feel like? Do you feel like Buzz or do you feel like Raggedy Ann? And then we'll do the 5th step and then ask them the question with the dolls again. And then we'll say to them, would you like to have one of the 2 dolls on your desk or in your play area? Just hold it up and we know what you need at this point. We know, okay, so that's the 5th step. What do they need? Every single child is different. This is why we're not real big fans of programs. There are a lot of programs out there. So what we find with the programs is, whatever the program is, it's really, really good for about 15% of the kids. Unfortunately, the 15% that it's really good for are probably the ones who didn't need the program. It's actually aversive for around 15% of the kids. So to give you a very simple example, I have 2 children, a boy and a girl, and if I ask my little girl to, like I do a lot of meditation, so if I ask her to meditate with me, she will do it longer than me. She loves to do the breathing, she loves to listen to the birds. If I ask my son to do it, he'll probably end up hitting. My son is an athlete. My son regulates by skating or running or biking. So we have to help the child figure out what gets you that feeling of relaxed, enjoying the sensation, and hearing what's going on around you as well as what's going on inside you. That's the fun part of doing self-reg. The fun part is getting them going on this journey. It's a journey of trial and error, and we want mom and dad obviously to be a part of it too. Okay, so the last thing for today is, does it work? Yep. Does it always work? Yep. Does it work quickly? Nope. Okay, it takes a while. So typically what we'll see is when you get an intake in September, you pretty much hope to have all the kids self-regulating by Christmas. And there's all kinds of ways you can scaffold this. But you have to expect that there are going to be lots of regressions when there's a sudden increase in stress in the child's life. So it could be something going on with mom and dad. It could be illness. It could be like these 5-year-olds that I saw last week trying out for hockey, and most of them aren't going to make the team, and it's mom and dad who can't cope with that, and that's creating, like, I couldn't believe all these parents yelling at their child who's 5 years old that he had to try harder. Yeah, and you want to explain, he can't actually do a crossover, so yelling at him to try harder on the crossovers is just going to make him cry, and half these little guys are crying. So we want this message to get through that you have to be very patient, you have to be very understanding, and you have to recognize that there's going to be ups and downs. But if you can provide that child with a secure, it's called a secure base. That's what she does in the video. She smiles, she laughs, and she says, oh, did mommy scare you? She's giving him that sense, you are safe. That's the most precious thing we can give them. If you give that kid that, I'll just say one last thing and then I'll stop. If we can give that kid that, that's what gives the foundation that leads to these fabulous long-term results that we're seeing. One of the questions I get asked all the time is, what if the problem is in the home? Okay, it's an issue. We know it's an issue. We know that in a lot of the communities we're working in, there are stresses that are very difficult. There could be stress of poverty, could be marital stress, it could be partner stress, it could be the stress of an addiction. So we're not miracle workers, we're educators. Our job is, while I've got that kid's going to feel safe and secure here. That kid's going to know that in this area there is both emotional and physical safety. This is what we can accomplish. We don't want to take on the role now of we're going to transform our communities. All we're going to do is we are going to work with this class, with this child, to provide them with something that they aren't getting in their lives. And the biggest problem we've had as we've done this, I was telling Mike this morning, we do a lot of work in some very troubled environments. And the biggest problems that I didn't tell you this part, the biggest problem we've had is getting the kid to leave the school on Friday night. But at least he's got this. And you would be astonished, what the data tells us is you would be astonished how profound an effect this experience, and one of you said this, right? You get them for a long time. This has a profound effect on their trajectory. And then what you have to do is you have to pass the baton. You have to go to the K or the grade 1 teacher and you have to tell them what you've learned so that these insights that you've acquired over the course of the year are not lost, that he doesn't get labeled again, that he doesn't get forgotten, flying below the radar again. This is this child. This is what I saw. Come back to me if you've got questions, or maybe we'll meet, for the first couple of weeks so that we can get him off to a great start. Okay? All right, so what we've seen as we've done this is in fact an agent for community change. We've seen it over and over because the parents start to pick up. These are parents, by the way, who also see the school as, now I'm talking school, see the school as scary. So now we need them to see that we are not going to harm your kid. We have it within our skill set, not just to teach him, the curriculum, but to help him become all of the core components of the Ontario curriculum, to become healthy, to enjoy life, to wake up and be happy. I said to my wife on Tuesday, so my son, you're expecting Tuesday's going to be this horrible day, and he's going to, one of your examples, he's got 30 in his class, and it's a crowded school, and his bus was at 7:57, and he's standing by the front door at 6:25, waiting for his bus. Great principal, despite all of the challenges. This is a happy school, and he was excited because he was going to a place not just where he was going to be with his friends, but he came home that night and told me what he was going to learn in science. So we can do this. You can even do it with my son, and my son is a hockey player. So you can do it on hockey players, like with the autistic kid. You can do it with any kid. Okay, so that's essentially what the message is for this morning, and that's why I started off saying it's a heavy, I'm really kind of creating a bit of a demand on you, a further demand. But it's the reason why you went into this profession, and the greatest reward you're going to get is it gives you great joy, but also you begin to do it for yourself. So you all need to do everything I've done for yourselves because it is a demanding job, and you need to develop your own. You have to go through the 5 steps with yourselves, and I started off by saying this, and I'll close with saying this: don't screw this one up. Okay, and I'm going home.